Welcome to A Call to Action. It's a series presented by Great Eastern Radio and Brattleboro Community Television. We're covering many different topics as to what our next election will look like and the community approach to dealing with a pandemic. Today, we're talking with Annie Guion, who is the Executive Director of the Windham County Humane Society. I'm Peter Fish-Case. Annie, welcome to A Call to Action.
Thank you, Peter. Happy to be here.
Yeah? All right. I wanted a puppy. Do I come down and get a puppy? What's going on?
Well, it's gotten a little wild and crazy in animal welfare like everywhere else.
Right.
So we are doing adoptions for the animals we have in the building, but as many of you know, we've been transporting animals for many years now, and about 50% of our dogs were coming from the south, from overcrowded shelters where they faced euthanasia. And when the governor put in his executive order, he banned the importation of pets into the state, which we appreciate. It was, we had big trucks pulling into Burger King parking lots and 40, 50 people standing around to get puppies they had ordered over the internet off a truck. And that didn't seem wise in this age. But the sad outcome is that the brick and mortar shelters like mine are honoring the ban. Transports are coming into the state. I'm pretty confident anecdotally and looking at Facebook. So if you want to shop on the internet for a puppy, I would just advise caution. A couple things to do is to make sure they are actually a registered nonprofit. Some of the trucks coming into Vermont were not working with nonprofits, and the dogs did not have health certificates. You want to make sure they have health certificates. And for figuring out if they're a nonprofit, you can just look them up online on the U.S. government. There's a place to search for registered charities.
Okay.
And then I would also make sure that they ask them what happens if the adoption doesn't work out, because some of them are in Arkansas. And if you got a dog that doesn't fit with your family, you may not have any help from the sending organization.
Okay. Well, you know what? Those are really, really good points to make and to drive home. And, as is the case with anything, you should know who you're doing business with, right?
Yeah, and it can be really hard to figure out. And we have asked as a body, the brick and mortar shelters in Vermont have asked the governor to rescind the ban on importations, but we haven't seen that happen yet.
All right. So what, for those folks watching or listening, what can we do to help?
Well, we actually are really grateful that we've had a affordable veterinary care program in place, and that's what we've pivoted to.
Right.
We have a lot of favorite words now, right? Unprecedented, pivoted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are providing affordable veterinary care and spay neuter. We know a lot of the vets have had to curtail their services, and they're not taking new clients either. So if you did manage to get a new puppy or a kitty and you need spay neuter or vaccines, please call us or visit our website. You can actually register for an appointment right online.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. But getting back to you had written the governor a letter.
Yeah.
And so is there support that the community can show that might reflect your message?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. He's got a few things to review right now, like every sector is asking him. So you could certainly contact local legislators, especially if you're looking for a dog, and you could mention that it's pretty difficult to be confident when you're getting the dog online,
right,
coming from the south, that you'd rather work with the brick and mortar shelters. We've had very loose laws around this for years, which is one reason the trucks come to Vermont, because Massachusetts has a 48-hour quarantine, et cetera, et cetera. They come here and they go out the back of the truck. So we're also working, if the governor were to say, yes, we'll reopen this importation of pets doomed to euthanasia in the South, what are the guidelines around that? So we're trying to tighten that up a little bit. So I would say I wouldn't write the governor, he's a little busy, but you could certainly talk to any one of your local legislators and say, hey, I know this has been requested by the Vermont Humane Federation, and we would like to see the ban lifted.
Okay. All right. Good to know. But just so you know, I mean, I don't feel bad for anybody who runs for governor or president or anybody. There's an old saying, the tall tree catches all the breeze, right? So
True.
there is that. So let's talk about adoption. Now, all right, I'm gonna say an inflammatory gaslighting thing. You're not adopting pets right now.
We're adopting very few. So when
So you
COVID
are
hit,
adopting pets.
we are adopting pets out, absolutely. And the way we're doing it, so with dogs, we have our nice big dog yard. So we'll have conversations with you ahead of time, and then you can come meet the dog in our outside dog yard. We're trying not to let people in the building because I have one veterinarian and I have one vet tech. They're both of a certain age. And that's our most important program right now is helping people afford vet care. So I really need to keep my staff safe. There's 8, 9 of us total.
Right.
So that's how we're doing dog adoptions. With cat adoptions, we have done some Zoom adoptions, which in a way work really well, because when you think about, you walk into the cat adoption room and the cat's like, who are you and what do you want? But on a Zoom adoption, you're watching the staff who knows the cat interact with the cat, and you get a better sense often of what the cat's actually like.
And probably cats are just more Zoom creatures anyway.
Exactly. And so we also will let people into the adoption room. We ask that people wear masks in the building. So we are letting people in one at a time to visit with cats if they're interested in adopting. And right now, typically we do about half and half dog and cat adoptions with all the transports. But we've always had more local cats, and we have plenty of, well, we don't have lots of kittens right now, but they're coming in, they're in foster. So I anticipate plenty of kittens up for adoption.
Okay. All right. Good. So with all the services that you've been providing and everything else that has been going on, I mean, have you felt the impact of the pandemic? Is it really greatly, because I know you guys were starting to work on a capital campaign.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think, like anybody doing that right now, it's like, well, let's just see how things are going to fall out here and keep our operating going. Yeah, we're down since March 13th, we're $11,000 less in adoption income this year compared to last year. That's that impact of the transports not
Right.
coming in. And obviously expenses go along with transporting dogs and cats, but typically our local animals, they're either here because they got dumped, they're a stray, or they are surrendered because they have a medical issue or a behavior issue. So the puppies coming up from the south, they're kind of clean slates and they go out the door very quickly. The cost to us is relatively low, and they bring in good adoption income that helps support what we do on every level.
Right.
So we're feeling that. Right after COVID hit, I had to lay off a lot of people because if you watch payroll go out, that's the biggest expense for sure. Nationwide, shelters spend over half of their expenses are on staff.
Right.
And then we got the payroll protection program, and that allowed me to bring back staff and get back on with spay, neuter, and vet care. So are we feeling it? Absolutely. The community's been great, and we've had some really lovely donations. We did Giving Tuesday, and we did well. But yeah, it's a struggle to see what the future looks like.
Right. Now, make no bones about it. I mean, when you adopt and you make your revenue that way, it's an important and integral piece for providing, say those examples like I like to use of things that you don't necessarily ask for are those people who have 3 and 4 pets that are mistreating them, and then the police come and they take them away, and where do they go? To you. Exactly. And what is that? Not that you don't do it from your heart and from a loving place, and you do it willingly, but it is nothing but a pure expense. So if somebody drops a pet off that they can't handle, that they've gone and they've got from a transport, or as we started this conversation, from a place that is not really accredited for doing what they're saying and doing, then that just becomes nothing but an expense for you if that pet doesn't get adopted out in a relatively quick time. Is that a safe statement?
Oh yeah, and even the dogs. Some of the dogs coming up from the south need heartworm treatment, or we had a dog surrendered this spring who had broken his leg, and the owner was not able to go to the vet for that. So it had healed very badly, and really sweetest dog. He actually got adopted by the vet tech, but we ended up with a couple vet opinions determining he'd be better off without the leg because he was just dragging it.
Right.
So we had to amputate the leg and get him neutered, and I think we had him in our care for a few weeks. We also just had a bunch of dogs come in because the owner was not licensing them. So we worked with the town, but we ended up holding 5 dogs for about a week, and the town got their licensing done finally, but I wasn't going to charge this owner. I needed to do everything I could to get the dogs back. He was a good owner, loved the dogs, just didn't get the licensing thing. Right. So, we did that because it's the right thing for the dog, but that was 5 days of care for 5 dogs. That's a lot of money out the door.
So actually, can you do you know off the top of your head, like what is a price tag for 5 dogs for 5 days?
That's a good question.
I ask good questions, Annie.
Yes, you do. Well, that takes a morning of staff time at $14 or $15 an hour. And then there's food. These dogs were in good shape, so we didn't have to do a lot of medical stuff, and the owner didn't want to spay and neuter them. But we gave the dogs ID tags as well with their name and phone number, so that if they get lost, if they get home. That's kind of a big push we're focusing on right now.
Yeah. With
few staff in the building, I need to keep my building as empty as I can, so getting pets home is important.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I'm going to guess that for a week worth of care on the level that you're talking about is probably close to $300 to $400 per animal. Is that
That's probably a little high for these guys, just
okay.
Because they didn't need, like some dogs come in and they need flea and tick. They need daily baths because they've got flea dermatitis and a lot of wormer. These dogs were in good health, nice dogs.
So you're the ultimate house guest. You're the person who comes in and leaves the place better than when you found it.
That's what we try because, we're dealing with animals and we want to see them have the best care that they can have. So
the reason I'm pressing, obviously, as to what that cost is, these are not costs. You already said you were down $11,000 from adoption in adoption fees alone from last year.
Yeah.
And then you're heaped on, let's just call it around $1,000 more down in the hole for taking care of 5 dogs you didn't anticipate having. Right. It boils down to the community kind of recognizing the good work that you do and hitting that donate button on your website.
Well, yeah, and to feed into your point more directly, yeah, the adoption income helps. It's not what keeps us afloat. It's about 1/5 of our income. So that means the rest of it is coming largely from donations. And then we also get fees for services like spay neuter, and we do charge for the vet care, but it doesn't fully cover the cost. So it's the donations from the community that keep us going. And there's kind of this outdated notion. I mean, I've seen people be like, you want an adoption fee? You should be thanking me for taking this animal. I'm like, well, how do you think we pay for things like that? I have to look at bringing funds in at every level. And the more it's balanced between fees for services and donations, the better. If I'm solely reliant on donations, then I have a problem with that. Stops.
No, I understand. All right, Annie, let's recap. You are adopting pets. You don't have as many as you normally do. So you are open while practicing COVID protocols.
Yep.
Pet care for those who can't afford it, who feel like they have to give up their pet because of that. They don't. You have options for that.
Yeah.
And currently working on trying to get the transports open back up. So talk to your senators and your representatives and write the tall tree a letter.
Yes, you can write him a letter. Just don't know how much time he has to read. But yeah, the more he hears, maybe the more he'll get around to addressing that particular thing.
Absolutely. Annie, is there anything we're leaving on the table? Anything we're forgetting to talk about?
I think just if you have a veterinary need, don't put it off. We had a cat come in with a very big mass on his head. Turned out, and he came in as a stray, but it turned out he was owned, and his owner had tried to address that mass about a year before, and the vet had quoted a very high price that she could not afford, a senior living on her own. So we're lucky the cat came in as a stray, and that we have a vet on staff, so we took care of that. And the cat's home without this big nasty thing hanging over its eyeball. So don't put things off. If you're worried about something, please call us. We'll do everything we can to help you. We have a great vet on staff. We have great staff, period, A to Z. So give us a call or go on the website.
What is the website?
WindhamCountyHumane.org.
Annie Guion, thank you for jumping on a call to action with me today.
Thank you, Fish. Thanks for having me.
All right.